The knowledge of the soul is called the secret of secrets in the Zohar, given only to those who are wise in their hearts. As already explained in more detail in the first part of the 3 parts of the Soul video series, according to the Qabbalah, there are 3 main parts or levels of the soul. The emotional soul or lower self, which is called Nefesh, the mental soul or the conscious self, which is called Ruach, the spiritual soul or the higher self, which is called Neshamah. Ruach is thus the name for our mental soul in the Qabbalah. This is Hebrew and means mind, spirit, soul. It can also mean breath, wind, air, inspiration, and direction. Ruach dominates by day and can be considered waking consciousness, as opposed to Nefesh, our emotional soul, which is associated with dream consciousness. The mental soul is thus the part of the soul that embodies our consciousness or conscious mind when we are awake. On the Kabbalistic tree of life, consciousness is associated with the Sephirah Tiferet. If you would like to learn more about the emotional soul and dream consciousness, we would like to invite you to our seminar on Prophetic Qabbalah or Qabbalah Nevuit, details in the video description. In the Zohar, the following can be found about Ruach. Ruach is the voice, and it's called knowledge, Dat, and it is connected to a person who raises his voice in the study of the Torah. And it is called the written Torah, and the mental soul or intellectual soul, from it come good deeds. And here an example from the Bible. With my soul, Nefesh, have I desired thee in the night. Yea, with my spirit, Ruach, within me, will I seek thee early. Ruach is thus the intellect and our ability to learn. This part of the soul is easily accessible to us, in contrast to Neshamah, our spiritual soul. We thus use our mental soul almost constantly and consciously to learn and develop. Ruach is on the mental plane between the spiritual and the emotional or astral plane. The mental plane represents our thoughts as well as our consciousness. The planes always have an effect from the higher to the lower plane, and the higher one rules the one below it. The plane below simultaneously forms the basis for the plane above and supports it. The planes are therefore in conscious interaction with each other. If you want to learn more about this, watch the video about the 4 planes. Therefore, our Ruach ideally receives inspiration and guidance from our Neshamah, which is on a higher plane. Our emotional soul, on the other hand, we can influence with our mental soul, as the mental is above the emotional plane. This means that through awareness and conscious control over our thinking, we can influence our emotions. You can learn more about this in Refuah, as taught by Salomo Baal Shem. You will find links to the events in the video description. This is also the basic principle of how magic works. Our will, inspired by the higher planes, dominates thoughts, which in turn create thought forms that, charged with emotions, can lead to concrete results on the inner and outer planes, or even on the material plane. Basically, we consider Ruach to be part of our mortal personality of this incarnation. However, our memories are absorbed into the higher plane, so Ruach can also be called partially immortal. Only through this it is possible that we can remember past lives. If you would like to have an intensive meditative access to your soul parts, we invite you to go through the meditation of the inner temple, which you can find on our website. Please write in the comments if the knowledge about the mental soul could support you on your spiritual path, and what new insights you have gained from it, or feel free to ask us your questions.